Hello, everyone. Good morning for those in my neck of the woods. Good evening for those down under, and good afternoon for everyone else. So it's just gone 11:30 here in the UK. Thank you so much, Krista. You are so kind. You are too generous. Too generous. $49.99 before the stream even started. Wow. Thank you so much. All right, so I just want to do some updates. I've got I can spare an hour and a half, absolute maximum. We do have a dead stop on this. I've got to stop by one, my time, because I'm going out. So let's do some updates. So I want to talk about Jay Slater. There's been a new update from the police, from the Spanish police. There's been words said by his friends, and there's been words said by the family, and it's incredibly sad. There isn't a confirmed ID at the moment, because the autopsy, according to the Spanish police, is most probably going to happen this morning. So I don't know where they have taken him for the autopsy, but it's likely to be happening this morning. So we should get an ID, if they can ID today. But if they, you see, IDing, if they can just do a match with something like fingerprints, they can do a match on dental records. Those are quick. But obviously, as this body is in Spain and Jay's dental records, if indeed he's got up-to-date dental records, they can only do a dental records ID if you've been to a dentist recently. It will be in the system here in the UK because he's offended before, so the British police will have his fingerprints and his DNA on file, but obviously that will have to be transferred to Spain. That should be quick. They should be able to do that quickly. If they need to go to DNA, then it might take a couple of days for that ID to come in. It does in the UK. I mean, I don't know how long it will take in Spain, but I think everybody is assuming that it's Jay, even his family. So I'm going to do some updates there. I'm going to briefly talk about the Suitcase murders that happened in Bristol. Well, actually, it's likely the murders actually happened in London, in Shepherd's Bush, in West London. But the bodies of the two men who've now been ID'd and their names have been released. And it's not what I expected. I thought it would be some kind of gang violence, like some kind of like drug feud or something like that. And it appears not. So I'm a little bit surprised about who these two guys actually are. But we don't know very much about it. The offender, the Yosting guy, the absolute clown who took these bodies, or body parts even, in two suitcases, over 100 miles away to Bristol, appeared in court yesterday, just had his initial appearance in court. He's appearing in Crown Court, I believe, tomorrow. So they do the initial appearance, and then the case, obviously, because it's murder, is transferred directly to Crown Court. So he's appearing in Crown Court, I believe, tomorrow. It's just basically opening the case. That's it. So we won't know very much more, I don't think, until the trial, assuming that he pleads not guilty, or his sentencing, if he pleads guilty. Is the stolen watch story 100% fact? No, it's not. It's not. No. And then I want to just touch on the Donald Trump attempted assassination. I heard about it. It hadn't even broken. I mean, it's been all over the British news. It's dominated the British news. but it hadn't hit the British news when Grey Hughes went live. So I actually heard about it from Grey Hughes. Grey Hughes beat the British press on it. And my first thought was inside job. That was my very first thought. But I don't think it was. I think, in my opinion, I think it was just complete incompetence. That's just my opinion at this moment in time. But I don't know. I don't know. Very strange. Very, very strange how that young man was allowed to climb on that roof. You know, I was sitting there thinking, if they tell me that some of those shots come from a nearby grassy knoll, I'm gonna absolutely flip my lid. I'm gonna flip my lid. Enemy within, yeah. But I don't want to get into the politics. I'm not interested in politics, you know, of the situation. I just find it bizarre, absolutely bizarre that it was allowed to happen. But hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. And if you've got any questions for me, then fire them into the chat. I don't see any questions at the moment, apart from the stolen watch. And the only reason why the stolen watch was a thing was because Jay had said it in a Snapchat. So I was kind of assuming that there must be some truth to it. I was, but it's not confirmed. It's not confirmed as a fact. It's just that Jay had put in a Snapchat to his friends when he was on the way to Masca that he got kicked out and he'd stolen this AP, which is a kind of watch. So not a Rolex. And he's going to sell it for 10 quid. I mean, it could have been a lie. He could have been just joking. It could have been just, you know, faffing around. So it's not confirmed as a fact. We don't know whether there was a watch or indeed anything stolen. That's true. Repatriation of bodies is super expensive. They have the GoFundMe money. I think they're going to use the GoFundMe money for all the funeral expenses and stuff. So they do have the money for it. 6:30 a.m. in Hawkins County. Hawkins County, Tennessee. Yeah, it could have been slang for drugs. We just don't know. And there will be things that we'll never know. Daughter of Scotland, my oldest member for 35 months. That's insane. That's a long time. You are such an OG. You are the OG of OGs, Daughter of Scotland. Do we know who found Jay? We do. It was the mountain rescue people brought in by the Guardia Civil. So it was actually the Spanish authorities that found him. It was the kind of mountain rescue arm of the Guardia Civil. So we do know who found him. We don't know the actual person's name, but we know the organization that's found him. Yeah, it does. It does. It really does. All right. So the Daily Mirror are doing like updates, like they're doing regular updates. So we're gonna just read some of this because there's a few details that we didn't know yesterday. Can I get rid of that advert? Yeah, I can. So the body was found around 10 a.m. yesterday. So the 10 a.m. my time, Tenerife has the same time as me. So what time did I go live yesterday? About 12? I can't remember what time I went live yesterday, but I'd literally just uploaded a video and then the news broke, like Sky News broke it, that a body had been found. So 10 a.m. on Monday morning. And it's 4 weeks to the day since he went missing. Like they were in the 29th day. And they said from the outset that the evidence strongly suggests that the remains were Jay. Now, the brief update from a Civil Guard spokesperson this morning said that the autopsy was yet to be carried out, but they think it's going to be done this morning. The update from the Civil Guard yesterday, I questioned, like, this is part of it. After 29 constant days of searching, the lifeless body of a young man has been found in the Masca area. The discovery has been possible thanks to the tireless and discreet search carried out by the Civil Guard over these 29 days. So I find it interesting. That after 12 days, they said that they were packing up, like they just disappeared. What I think they did was carried on searching, but they'd covered all of the area. So if we get the map up, they'd covered all of the area that's like open ground, like, you know, the paths and the trails down here up to the point where the ravines start, because this is reasonably open ground. All this is the Barranco Juan Lopez Trail. It's very it's overgrown and bushy and difficult to walk through, but it is all open ground. So they did kind of that side of the mountain. They even went over this mountain. There was some searches that were done more towards here. And I think once they realized, you know, where the phone ping was, then it was this area, all this area that they focused on. Not that one, this area that they focused on. So I think they covered that as thoroughly as they felt they needed to. And then what I think they did is they told the media that they were packing up because they wanted to go to the really inaccessible areas. And I assume what they didn't want was a bunch of social media people and a bunch of media people generally trying to find them, like trying to go down there, you know, trying to get the scoop. So I think once they reach the V-notch, this area where it gets really, really dangerous, the ravines are so deep. Now there is a path down here, but it's if you look at the footage that I've been including in my videos of hikers who've walked down this area, it's arduous. You have to be very experienced, and it's about 2 miles. I think the whole trail is about 2 miles, but it takes you like 2.5 hours to get down, and that's somebody who is an experienced hiker. And if you want to kind of veer off the path, then you will need ropes. If you want to go down, this area, the Masca gorge, the next gorge here, is really, really, really tough. But yeah, there's footage. I've been including clips of people walking down the Barranco Juan Lopez Trail. But I think what the Civil Guard decided to do was bring in the specialists to do these, these deep gorges, these deep ravines, out of the eyes of the media. So they said they'd packed up when they actually hadn't, which I think is pretty clever. And I'd suggested in my video yesterday, which I've now privated because it's not relevant at all. I was saying they should come by boat. They should start at the bottom and work their way up. But the Civil Guard, the mountain rescue people, have gone one step better than that. What they were doing was using a helicopter to lower people down. So when people have, seen the odd helicopter flying by, well, the helicopter's just dropping people off, and then we'll pick them up later. So that's what I think they've been doing, out of the eyes of the media. So when they said they were following lines of inquiry, they absolutely were following lines of inquiry. They were continuing to search these ravines. People have been searching that area after the official search stop. No one noticed them. No one noticed them. No, because the TikTokers have been here in this area. So the phone ping's about here. So that's the Airbnb there. That's the Mirador. It's like there's a small cafe there, parking. It's like a lookout spot. Like tourists can go there and take photos of the mountains and stuff. The phone ping's about here, roughly. And then this is the beginning of the Juan Lopez Trail. So none of the TikTokers or anything have gone right down into these deep ravines. Thankfully, because it's arduous. Because that's why I've been saying they've got to search those ravines. Why is no one searching those ravines? And they absolutely were. But no one would have seen them because they're right down here. Once the people are dropped off, no one's going to see them. No one's going to know they're there. Completely out of the eyes of the media. What do you mean by foot? Local lass. What do you mean by foot? Did you not see my video from yesterday? I'll show you my video from yesterday. I did a little collage. The Guardia Civil released some footage of the area where the body was found. So I might as well just play that. Hey guys, this is just a quick one. This is like just 2 minutes, and the footage that I'm including here is what the Guardia Civil released yesterday. Yeah, they've been searching the ravines, yes, by foot. So they've been using a helicopter to lower people down, and then they've been searching it by foot. So I'll just play this 2-minute video that I made yesterday. In the body found in Masca, close to where Jay Slater's phone last pinged. And the Guardia Civil have released some video clips of the location where the body was found. And you can see from these clips that this is a very, very tight ravine. It's not Jay's body that you can see being lifted up by this helicopter, but I think they've been airlifting searchers into this area. You have fairly open land up until this area, and then the rest of this terrain going down to the ocean, it's very, very tight. There is a path down there. It is walkable, but you have to be very, very skilled. And there's so many of these little crevices that are so tight. Google can't even see down the bottom of them. But it's somewhere in this area, I believe. So it's after this V-notch. So to me, it's obvious why it's taking so long. And it's the place where I've been saying needs to be searched. This really isn't one that I wanted to be right on. But that's the situation. So not a formal ID as of yet. Still awaiting autopsy results. But I think this is Jay. In my opinion, I think this is Jay. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next video. Look how steep that is. Look at that. But that there, that's the V-notch that you can see here, this area. So if you look at it from the other way, look at it from the road here. You look at it down. This is the Barranco Juan Lopez Trail, and what you can see is this V. So you've got, that's the beginning of where the ravines get really, really, really steep. And I think Jay fell just beyond this. I think it was around this area, like there, maybe this area. That's where I think he fell. Because up to that point, it's tough, because it's you know, there's a path. There is a path. You can see the path, but it's tough to get through because of the foliage. You know, there's bunches of cacti. There's like that kind of grassy stuff that grows in dry areas, like really, like, I don't know what kind of grass it is, but it's a type of grass. So tough to walk through, but very walkable, and you're not going to die walking down there. You might sprain your ankle or fall, but you're not going to kill yourself. It's when it gets to this area that it becomes very, very steep, very, very quickly. And if you lose your footing, you are a goner. You are an absolute goner. No, I didn't say, I've lost it now. Susan, no, I said absolutely the opposite. So Susan Phillips says, did you say yesterday they were alerted by birds? No, I said the opposite. I said that it was a report from one of the neighbours who lives in Masca, who said that when because there's so many like wild mountain goats around here, when a goat dies, then they see the birds circling the body. So the neighbour who lives in Masca said that they didn't believe that Jay's body was there because they'd not seen any crows circling. I said, if he's in the ravine, there's no way that birds would circle, because crows are very intelligent birds. They're not going to hang out down these ravines. This is not the kind of environment that crows prefer. This is not an area for crows. Gulls, yeah, but not crows. So I said absolutely opposite. I said this was before, literally just before the body was found. And in my video that I've now privated, I said it makes me feel even stronger that the body's in the ravines, because they've not seen any birds circling. Now, if the body was in this open area, then they may well have seen birds circling. They may well have. But this area, up to this point here, has been very well travelled. Like TikTokers, Jay's family have searched this area. The police swarmed this area. So the only place left to search was these ravines. And unbeknownst to us all, they actually were. They actually were searching them. So anyway, let's move on with this. All right. So we've got an update from Lucy. Lucy wrote on her Instagram yesterday. And people are still saying that Jay was murdered. People are still saying Jay was murdered. Loads of people in my comments have said that he was taken down there, the body was dumped down there, whatever. Whatever. Did Jay fall going up or down? We don't know. We don't know the answer to that. Whether he got down right the way down to the ocean and then tried to come back, we don't know. We don't know. So, so Lucy's done an update here. Writing on Instagram last night, Lucy said, honestly lost for words, always the happiest and most smiley person in the room. You're one of a kind, Jay, and you'll be missed more than you know. I'm sure you'll have your dancing shoes polished and ready, waiting for us all. We love you, buddy. Fly high. Anybody apologise to Lucy yet? Anybody? Anybody? Chameleon audio, no. A huge investigation isn't needed. The autopsy is needed to, ascertain the cause of death. So a spokesperson for Jay's family has issued a major update on when the body can be returned to the UK. And they suspect, they've been presumably told, that he would have been killed instantly after falling from a height. So it's likely that he died instantly. So, it would have been absolutely horrible if he died slowly. Let's say he'd broken both of his legs and he couldn't move and he just died slowly of dehydration. But that leads me to believe that there is a head injury involved. If he died instantly, I think there must be, because the autopsy's not happened yet. So if they've been told that he's likely to have died instantly, I suspect there's a visible head injury. But on Tuesday, so this has just come out, a family spokesman told Mail Online, the whole family is absolutely broken. They are devastated. It's not the outcome they were hoping for. Initially, they thought, how could he be so close and yet be missed? But now, having seen the location, they appreciate the remoteness of it, and there is no criticism of the search. It looks as if he fell from a height, so he would most... Oops. They've obviously added an update. They made it jump. It looks as if he fell from a height, so he would most likely have been killed instantly, and he wasn't there for a long time. Or at least he wasn't alive there for a long time. So Mark Williams Thomas, who's not a detective, he hasn't been a police officer, a police detective for 24 years. He's an investigator. Furry goodness, member for 18 months, catching up. You're nearly an OG. Nearly an OG. Yeah, ironic that there's been 2 recent deaths when Brit's gone walking, Jay and Dr. Mosley. Yeah. Yeah. You see, we don't have this kind of terrain here in the UK. I mean, the Scottish Highlands and maybe some areas in Wales are very mountainous and people get lost there and some people die and people, fall. There was recently a man and his little boy found dead in Glencoe, which is up in the Scottish Highlands. So it does happen. But, the average person, unless you're an avid hiker and you go and seek out those places, the average person will never encounter a terrain like there on Tenerife. And even the Scottish Highlands are easier to walk than those areas in Tenerife because the Tenerife, those ravines, it's all volcanic rock. So it easily breaks and it's so dry, it's not held by soil, like the stones are not held in by soil. It's just all loose underfoot. So we don't have that in this country. And then the heat, like Dr. Mosley, it was the heat that got him, I think. It was a very, very hot day. Like my son, Kyle, was actually on the island next to where Dr. Mosley was. He was in Rhodes, which is the next island along. And he said that day it was incredibly hot. Like it was like that him and his girlfriend were there for a week, and it was the Wednesday, and he said it was so hot that day because they were actually going to do a boat ride to that island that day. So they'd have landed, if they'd have taken that boat ride over from Rhodes to what was it called, Simi, the boat would have actually taken them to that area where Dr. Mosley was found. but they decided not to. It was so hot, they decided not to go out that day. Like they just like stayed around the hotel. So, you know, I think it was the heat that got Dr. Mosley. I had a super chat and it's now disappeared. It's annoying. Hold on, I'll get it on StreamYard. Thank you so much, Susan. $4.99. Good morning. 3:50 a.m. Oh my word. Oh my word, you are an early riser. You are an early riser. Okay. So Mark Williams Thomas made some comments yesterday, and he said the body was found in an inaccessible place, making it difficult for rescue teams to find him sooner. Not far from the spot where Jay sent his location to two friends shortly before 9 a.m. And the phone ping was, as I said before, in this area, just before the Branco Juan Lopez Trail starts, but off the road, so around here. But it could have been up to 10 meters out, so it could have pinged when he was on the path. Doesn't necessarily mean he went off road. But this is an interesting snippet. It's around 20 minutes walk from the ping drop location. So his body was found about 20 minutes walk from where that phone ping was. So it does actually lead me to believe that it's just here where I said yesterday, like this is the location, I think, because if you think his phone ping's there at 8:50 and he just carries on walking, like powering through, I think he could be here in 20 minutes because that's not far. That's really not far. I think he could be here in 20 minutes. And then he's thought, oh, I'll manage this. And he started going down here. And I think it's there. I think it's there. Hold on. There, if you look, there's the V notch. And there's that. So there's the V notch and there's that. So they were working in this area here. So he's tried to go down here. Probably the rocks have fallen and he's taken a tumble right down to the bottom, probably right down to the bottom of the ravine. So yeah, I think it's there. So that's the V notch that you see. And then there's this like thing that sticks up here. Oh, look. And it's right down the bottom here. And like the undergrowth video is just insane. There, look. Try and stop it in that right point. There. V notch. And then there's this one that sticks out. So they're right down the bottom of that ravine. See, if there is a path. There is a path. It's just really overgrown. I mean, look, imagine trying to walk down there, like totally not prepared for it. Totally not prepared. Comes barreling down here. But like I said, I think there's probably signs of a head injury, which makes them believe that he died instantly. Hey, Purple AJ. Is it Purple AJ? It is Purple AJ. Thank you so much for 10 members, 10 new members. Let's, this computer's been annoying. I don't know what's up with it. Keeps not wanting me to scroll back up. Come on now. Wait. Did this yesterday. All right, here we are. So we've got Farm Girl Lizzie, Kia's Gypsy, Karma Moon, Kelly, Hug Dealer, Kathy, Mike J, Libby Lula, Crafty, and annoying. This computer's driving me mad. It's driving me mad. It's driving me mad, I tell you. But anyway, I don't know whether I got everybody, but thank you so much, Purple AJ. You are an absolute superstar. Superstar. Has the live ended? No, the live has not ended. Tina, I'm still here. I'm still here. What was he thinking? He was thinking that, oh, it's not that bad. He wasn't making very good decisions. He wasn't making very good decisions. I think, you know, agreeing to go to Masca with these two guys was a stupid decision. Then deciding to leave early in the morning and not wait for the bus was a stupid decision. And then deciding to walk back to his accommodation, go off road and try to, I don't know, take a shortcut was a really stupid decision. So he was just making really bad decisions that day. And look, we've all made bad decisions. We've all made bad decisions. And he was, he paid the price. He paid the ultimate price, which is it's so sad. It's so sad. Brad also made let's go from me. Girlfriend of Jay Slater's brother posts an emotional message. Jessica Rogers, the girlfriend of Jay Slater's brother, took to social media just hours after police confirmed the body, and she said, "We'll love you forever." Jay's close pal Brad has also posted an emotional tribute on Instagram after the tragic news, saying, "No words, nothing will be the same without you. Rest easy, brother. Love you always." But also posted with another picture of the two of them, along with broken heart emojis. I mean, look, they're just lads doing what lads do. And usually these stupid things that you do when you're young, and sometimes when you're not so young, end inconsequentially. You get through it. But he paid the ultimate price. He really did. It's so sad. But I don't believe there's a crime. I think he was making bad decisions, and that's it. See if there's been any updates here. Oh, new update. Full ID on body unlikely to happen until next week. Okay. A court in the town of IDed de los Vinos, does that say IDed, which covers the area of Masca where human remains were found, is in charge of the ongoing investigation. I think that's more to the north. Their first comments so far since the grim police discovery yesterday, officials representing the female investigating judge said, in reference to the British citizen Jay Slater, the autopsy with the full identification of the body and the causes of death will take time because the body was very deteriorated. The court is saying the official identification will not be known until next week. So they'll need ID. Yeah, they need ID. It takes a few days here. Like if it's a police ID, you know, they want the ID quickly, then they they can do it within 2 or 3 days. But it might not be the same over there. Like, they might have to send the DNA to the mainland. You know, I don't know, but it might just take longer over there. So presumably they're not able to do dental. Presumably due to that, he's been there for 4 weeks. And although the body won't be, I don't think it will be completely decomposed, because down in the bottom of those ravines, it's quite cool. It's cold at night, but there'll be things like insect activity and, you know, all sorts of stuff. So maybe they're not able to ID him through fingerprints. Maybe they're not able to ID through dental records. It may have fallen on his face. I know this is horrible. It may have actually fallen forward onto his face, so they're not able to use dental. So they presumably they're gonna need to do a DNA match. So the way they do DNA matches is they can take a family member's DNA. So they could take his mother or his father's DNA and match it that way. Or they can get the DNA sample from the British police, because his DNA will be on file, because he's got he's been, you know, convicted. So he's in the system here in the UK. Documentation found on body is Jay's, officials said. So they know it's him. They know it's him. In a devastated admission, officials revealed documentation the dead man was carrying was the teenagers, and everything is pointing to an accidental fall. It comes after the remains were found in rough and hazardous terrain, spell check, where a slip or loss of footing would prove fatal, according to Detective Mark Williams-Thomas. So the body recovered near the spot where Jay went missing is very deteriorated. Unlikely full identification will happen until next week. But they know it's him. They know it's him, sadly. Police on the island of Tenerife confirmed yesterday human remains have been found in the area. Okay. So the area is close to where Jay's phone last pinged. Yeah, so body was found near Masca. All right. So those are the updates. So we're not going to get an official confirmation for a good few days yet. However, they do know it's him. So sad. Yeah, it's awful. If he did not have the stolen watch, that indicates some foul play or intimidation at the Airbnb. Well, Josh, we don't actually know whether he did have a stolen watch on him at all. We know what Jay said in his Snapchat, and once I'd seen that Snapchat, I talked as if it was factual, but it's never been confirmed. It's never been actually confirmed by anybody that he did have possession of a stolen watch. He might have just been chatting crap. He might have been, I don't know, sending really weird Snapchats. So we've assumed it's factual, but we don't actually have confirmation from anybody. You know, Mark Williams-Thomas asked the police whether there's, you know, evidence of a stolen watch, and he didn't get confirmation from the police. Mark Williams-Thomas has seen Snapchats. We haven't, and he's confirmed he had possession of it. Josh, I've seen the Snapchat. Everybody's seen the Snapchat. that Mark Williams Thomas is talking about. It's out there. If you've been watching my videos, I've posted the Snapchat in my videos several times. So we have seen the Snapchat. However, we don't know whether, we've no confirmation from the police that a crime has actually occurred. So we might think, well, why would Jay say it if it didn't happen? We don't know. None of us know Jay. So we don't know. And honestly, at this point, does it matter? You know, there was a reason why he didn't want to go back to the Airbnb. There's a reason for that. We don't know what that reason is. All we can go on is the facts we have in front of us. And a body has been found, very deteriorated, so likely to have been there for the full 4 weeks, with evidence of a sudden death after a fall, so likely head injury, I would imagine, that requires DNA to identify him. And it's the body, the possessions contain documentation belonging to Jay. So everything leads us to believe it's Jay. It's in the right location, with the right possessions, with the right clothes on, so it's Jay. It's very possible, Josh. It's very possible that a crime wasn't reported because this was some kind of, you know, underworld activity. It's very likely, possibly. If it's underworld activity, very likely it's not going to be reported to the police. However, we don't know the reason why Jay left the Airbnb. We don't know the reason why he didn't feel safe at the Airbnb. Could there have been intimidation? Yes, there could have been. There absolutely could have been. They could have threatened him. They could have robbed him. But the fact he had his phone with him leads me to believe that they didn't rob him, or else they'd just taken his phone as well, wouldn't they? But yeah, it's possible. It's possible he felt unsafe. But could he equally have felt unsafe because he was paranoid? Because he'd been taking drugs. He was, you know, on a come down after a 3-day weekend of indulgence and, you know, dancing and being on a real high. And he then starts to get paranoid thoughts. So maybe he felt unsafe when he didn't really need to. We'll never know. Those details we will never know because we weren't there. Thank you, Lisa, member for 20 months. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we don't know. And we're just going to have to accept that there will be things that we will never know. Yeah, off his head and paranoid. I've had mates walk off and not listen to reason. Yeah, I've had mates who've had full-blown flashbacks about things that happened in their past and truly believe that they were in that situation. And it's terrifying to watch when, you know, somebody's under the influence and their brain just goes into some kind of paranoid delusion where they truly believe that they're somewhere in a traumatic event that happened years ago. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've dealt with it with my own eyes. So it is a very alarming thing to happen. And it could well have been that Jay was feeling unsafe because he was paranoid. And he just wasn't thinking straight. Wasn't thinking straight. All right, so we're gonna wait for that ID. Let's move on now. I want to talk just a little bit about the Suitcase murders. So this happened a few days ago, and so it was last Wednesday, very, very late last Wednesday night. This happened in Bristol here in the UK. So let me just get the map up here. All right. So very late Wednesday night, just before midnight, security staff at the Clifton Suspension Bridge here in Bristol. So the Clifton Suspension Bridge crosses the River Avon. This is the city of Bristol, and then this goes out towards the coast. This is just like farmland, a few small towns out towards the coast. And 2 suitcases were left by a man who was subsequently identified as a Colombian national. First name's Yostin. Yostin Andres Mosquera, who's 34. They originally said he was 24, but they've now changed that to 34. And there was a manhunt. Like this man, Yostin, was chased. He's a cyclist, did a really brave thing, chased him, managed to get a couple of pictures of him. So the police had a really clear image to go off. And the 2 suitcases contained body parts from 2 separate people. And those people have now been named. They were named yesterday. French national Albert Alfonso and his British ex-partner, 71-year-old Paul Longworth. So these were older men, 62-year-old Albert and 71-year-old Paul were the victims. And it appears that Yostin had been staying with them. There's actually a picture of them all here together. So this is Albert and Paul. And there's Yostin on a boat ride. Look at him. The police here in the UK are treating it as a hate crime. So I don't know why they're treating it as a hate crime, but he appears in court tomorrow. He appears in Crown Court tomorrow. So that's basically just the opening of the case. Have they caught the suitcase guy yet? Yes, Kathy, that's who I'm talking about. This is the suitcase guy, Yostin. Yostin Andres Mosquera. He's a Colombian national. And he'd been staying with these 2 guys who were ex-partners, but clearly still friends. 71-year-old Paul and 62-year-old Albert, who's French. So I don't know who's who. That's Paul and that's Albert. So 71-year-old Paul, who's British, 62-year-old Albert, who's French, and then we've got Yostin, 34-year-old Yostin, who was staying with them, and he decides to murder them both. How does an adult fit into a suitcase? Well, Tina Marie, he chopped them up because there was body parts in these suitcases. And then when they went to Scots Road, the address in Shepherd's Bush in West London, which is over 100 miles away from Bristol, they found other body parts in that apartment. So the 2 suitcases that contain the 2 victims, it wasn't the full bodies. There were still body parts left in that apartment on Scots Road. It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I can't. Why? What on earth? Did he just put as much as he could in the suitcases and then couldn't fit everything in, so he decided just to leave some body parts behind? You know, it beggars belief, doesn't it? Did he intend to throw other body parts away in another location to try and, throw police off the scent? When you do that, that actually makes it worse, because you end up with 2 possibilities of those body parts being found. And in this day and age, it's much easier to identify body parts than it was in the past. It might have been beneficial to you in the past to split a body up and put a body part here and a body part there and a body part there to confuse the police. But these days, It doesn't actually. It just increases the chances of those body parts being discovered. Depending on, how well you hide them, obviously. He was their coke dealer, was he? Is that confirmed, Benjamin, or what? I think he was just a friend. I think he was staying with them. I don't know how long he'd been staying with them. I don't even know whether he was currently staying with them. But that is what the media are reporting. So Paul, Albert, and this is the killer. Innocent till proven guilty, obviously, constitutionally. But this dude is banged to rights, in my opinion. A court sketch of murder-accused Justin Andres Mosquera as he appeared in Wimbledon Magistrates Court on Monday afternoon. So what happens in the UK is that your first appearance is in Magistrates Court, and you basically say your name, and the magistrate will close if it's a crime sufficiently severe for it need to go to Crown Court, then the magistrate literally just closes the case there, refers it to Crown Court. So if it's a minor crime that a magistrate can deal with, then they just set the next court date and whatever. But this is just then this has been referred to Crown Court. He appears tomorrow, I believe, in Crown Court in London. So, and cameras are not allowed in British courts. So, but they do allow artists then. So that's the artist sketch. The artist is Elizabeth Cook. There's Justin with some fish and chips, looking perfectly normal. Perfectly normal guy. Oh, that's the suspension bridge. That's the address at Scots Road. It's number 11, Scots Road, in Shepherd's Bush, West London. So, honestly, they found him quickly. He was on Bristol Temple Meads train station in Bristol. That's where they apprehended him. Can you imagine, like, just waiting for a train and you get like this SWAT team turns up. It's like loads of armed police just swarm onto a train station and apprehend someone. And I bet it was pretty loud as well. Can you imagine? I bet there was people with their phones out. I'm surprised we haven't seen any footage, to be honest. No, they don't allow cameras in British courts. They're increasingly allowing cameras in for sentencing. So there's a lot of judges now in the UK that will allow cameras in, and for it to be live streamed. So I've played a number of sentencing, the final sentencing remarks from the judge. So it's a step in the right direction. Olivia Pratt-Corbell, the little girl who was shot in her own home, the judge there allowed sentencing to be live streamed. Brianna Jai, the young woman who was murdered in a park by two friends, supposedly, quote unquote friends. Her hearing, the sentencing hearing was live streamed. There's been quite a few now. There's been quite a few. Lucy Lackby also. There's been quite a few. So it's a step in the right direction. I think that eventually, judges will slowly but surely start to allow cameras in court, so we can at least see. I don't know why they just don't allow audio. If they don't like cameras, I don't know why they just don't allow audio. But no, it's artists. And these artists, they're really good. They're really good artist work. So But anyway, the people who knew Paul and Albert have spoken out. So we've got some comments here. Last saw Paul a month ago in the pub. He told me he was retiring. Well, I hope he was. He was 71. He told me I've only got 2 days left, that I have to go to work. He was really happy about it. He said he was due to go to Pride in Brighton. Paul and Albert had lived together for years. They were really quiet. There was never any issues with them. The police had never been called to their flat or anything like that. I haven't heard anything out of the ordinary these last few days. It's just so sad. Mr. Longworth, so Paul, was a regular at the Shepherd and Flock pub close to his flat. Member of staff said he used to sit at the end of the bar. He told me recently that he had just retired and was looking forward to travelling more. And then Mr. Alfonso, so Albert was originally from France, but had obtained British citizenship. And then we've got Masca, the killer. Also of Shepherd's Bush, was remanded in custody. Appeared in court, as I've said. The defendant, assisted by a Spanish interpreter, spoke only to confirm his name, address, date of birth in a short hearing at Wilmington Magistrates Court, remanded in custody, and will next appear at the Old Bailey on Wednesday. And the magistrate doesn't have the powers to consider bail. So the hearing tomorrow is presumably his counsel are going to ask for bail. I doubt very much that he will be given bail of any kind. I think it will be no bail. You sit in jail until your trial, or forever. You stay in jail now forever. So I don't think we're going to hear too much more about this case. You know, British police, they're pretty tight-lipped pre-trial. We don't get to know very much at all pre-trial. You know, some details might come out, but I don't think we're going to get to know much more until either the trial, if he pleads not guilty. Obviously, he'll have a plea hearing. That's the same as in the US. There'll be a plea hearing. So at some point, they might set the plea hearing date tomorrow. He might even want to enter a plea. He can enter a plea if he wants, I think. Anyway, if he pleads not guilty, obviously it will go to trial. Criminal justice system here is very similar to that in the US. So goes to trial. If he pleads not guilty, there'll be a sentencing hearing and nothing more if he pleads guilty. So hopefully the judge will allow the sentencing to be televised. Hopefully. Miss B, member for 21 months. Thank you so much. Hit the like button. Please do. Hit the like button. Yeah, a quid is a pound in the Northwest, yeah. A quid has always been a pound. But apparently, a quid is a new word for a grand. I've never heard it called that, but anyway. A grand is a grand. Or K. You know, 10K. But that's inflation for you, isn't it? That's inflation. No, we don't have the death penalty here in the UK. Sadly. I'd apply. If they ever brought the death penalty back, I would apply for a job as an executioner. I actually would. All right. I wouldn't have any qualms about it. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. Let me just say that. Wouldn't lose any sleep. Is a pound and euro the same? No. No. When the euro came in across Europe, the UK didn't go with it. So we have a pound, and the euro is, let me just have a look. 1 pound to, I can't even spell pound. Pound to euros. Okay. So £1 is €1.19. What's like that? 19 cents, is it? I don't even know. It says a lot about my personality, does it? I'm just sick. I'm sick and tired of these absolute clowns, these dumb criminals taking innocent people's lives. I'm sick of it. I'm really sick of it. So no, I would not have any qualms about ending the lives of these absolute monsters. Monsters. The Republic of Ireland uses euros. So it's literally just the UK that uses pounds. And all across Europe, the rest of them use euros. Like it used to be like all individual currencies. You know, like Spain had francs, Italians had liras, the Spanish had pesetas. What else was there? Germans had the Deutschmark, I think. And they all decided to combine all the currencies to invent a new one called a euro. But the UK didn't want that. The UK wanted to stay with the pound. Pesos, thank you. Thank you. Oh, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark still have the krona. Oh, do they? That's good. Sweden, Norway, and Denmark still have the krona. Canada uses a different pound. Doesn't Canada use dollars, like Canadian dollars? And then Australia uses Australian dollars. Any more to share on the Delphi shenanigans? There was a filing, yeah. There was a filing. Criminality talked about it a few days ago. So go over to Criminality's channel. She did an update a few days ago. Euros and cents. Yeah, okay. All right. Let's briefly talk about Donald Trump. Donald Trump. The attempted assassination. Donald Trump. So I think everybody knows who Donald Trump is, don't they? Surely. He's the 45th president of the United States, lost the last election to Joe Biden, and he is now the Republican nomination for the next election, which I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, Americans, it's November, isn't it? We've just had a general election here in the UK. We had a general election last week. We normally have our elections in May, but I don't know, it was July. This time, we have elections every 4 or 5 years. So the next presidential election, I believe, is in November. So Donald Trump will be the Republican representative candidate for, so he could become the 47th president of the United States, unless someone assassinates him. So a couple of days ago, there was an event. Donald Trump was talking. He was about 6 minutes, I believe, into his speech. And then some shots rang out. I counted 7, but apparently there was 8. I counted 7. And it was a young man who'd got onto a roof and was able to take shots at Donald Trump, hit his ear, like sideswiped him, Like another inch, and he would have been shot in the face or shot in the back of the head. No, he would have been in the face because of the direction. But he got his ear. He took a chunk out of his ear because he did an event yesterday, and he had a like a bandage on his ear. So he took part of his ear off. It was impressive, though, I've got to say. Look, I'm not talking anything about his politics at all. This is not a political channel in any way, shape, or form. But I was actually impressed that he got up and he's like going, fight. It's kind of what I would do, right? I would goad them. I would, oh dear me, I'm terrible. But anyway, this young man, 20 years old, lives like an hour away, had driven to this location, was allowed to climb onto a roof, which was the staging post for the police presence there. So the roof of the place where all the cops were hanging out, and he was able to take shots at former President Donald Trump. He killed one member of the crowd. So it wasn't a very good shot at all, unless he meant to fire in the crowd, I don't know. But he killed one man, and there's 2 other people who are in critical condition. Thank you, Michelle Watson, for the $14.99 Australian dollars. You are so kind. Thank you so much. Yeah, asking for his shoes. Yeah. Asking for his shoes. Let me get my shoes on, or something he said. But anyway, I'm going to play this short piece here from ABC News, and this talks about this craziness. There was a cop, like people who were around had alerted the cops to the fact that there was a man with an assault rifle on the roof. And one cop apparently climbed up and had the gun pointed at him, so he got down. And then seconds later, these shots rang out, and it could have been so easily prevented. And I saw it and I thought, inside job. There's no way in the world that anybody could have got on a roof and taken shots at a presidential candidate unless it was an inside job. Now, I'm inclined to think this was gross incompetence, but I don't know. Something completely went wrong. Somebody, I think, more people than the young man concerned, wanted him dead. No, I can't understand how it happened. It was my first. It's like there's going to be, there's going to be Grassy Knoll involved. There's going to be the CIA involved, and but who knows? All right, I'm going to play this short clip. It's nearly three minutes, and we'll take a look at the kind of the map, the diagram of it here in a second.
Moving developments after the assassination attempt tonight. Remarkable new images here. The alleged gunman seen climbing to the roof just minutes before opening fire at that rally. You can actually hear people in the crowd yelling to an officer, pointing him out. And now we learn that law enforcement was actually using that building as a staging area, and how the gunman climbed onto the roof, the wall outside that building. And ABC's Pierre Thomas tonight with the exclusive interview with the head of the Secret Service and what she's saying now.
Stunning new video tonight showing the moment Donald Trump's would-be assassin climbed onto the roof of that building just 2 minutes before he opened fire.
Yeah, look, there he is.
You can hear bystanders desperately trying to alert police. Authorities now using that video as part of...
So Trump, you can hear Trump talking, and these guys are sat there like going, there he is. There, look. And the snipers on the opposite building.
Of the investigation. And tonight, ABC News has learned that heavily armed local police were stationed inside that building and missed Thomas Crooks climbing up the outside of the building to the roof. The same building was being used as a staging area for local police, according to 2 law enforcement officials. And Butler Township officials are confirming ABC News' reporting that a local police officer climbed up the roof and confronted Brooks moments before the shooting.
The officer grabbed hold of the edge of the building, pulled himself up to be able to look, and according to what he's told me, shooter turned, rifle was pointed at the officer. The officer, defensive move, kind of ducked, fell, lost his grip on the building.
Look, I don't blame that officer, honestly. I don't blame that officer for ducking and falling off the building. I don't blame him for saving himself. But what I find insane is that this is where Donald Trump was speaking, right? So you've got a crowd here. You've got like the small sections of people behind Donald Trump. And then you've got these buildings here. This is where the snipers were, like protecting Trump. And then you've got this building where it was the staging post for the local cops who were assisting the Secret Service, not very well. And then on this staging post, you've got this young man, Thomas Crooks, 20 years old, drives an hour to get here, climbs on the roof, and people around going, there's a man there with a gun, there's a man there with a gun. Like minutes before. None of those cops needed to confront him. They could have surely used a radio or a phone or something to alert the snipers over here to shoot this guy. There's a guy with a gun on the roof. Isn't that what the sniper's job is? To take out any threat. And this is not just about protecting Donald Trump's life. A man died. A man lost his life. A man dived over his family to protect them and took the bullet. And there's 2 others in critical condition. Do you see how they obtain his parents' details, social media content, political affiliation, makes you feel they can't do anything? Yeah, affiliated with the Republican Party. Craziness.
Investigators tonight trying to determine whether roof access had been properly locked down. The shooter climbing seemingly unimpeded about 400 feet from the stage with a direct line of sight on the former president.
Take a look at what happened.
Look at that. Why did they not have, right? So they've got snipers on the buildings behind Donald Trump. Wouldn't you think that this also would have been a good spot to position a sniper? Were the wounded named? The man who died as, yeah. I'll talk about him briefly in a minute. I've got to go in 10 though. So this is the dude here. Everyone in this area can see him. The snipers over on the other building seemingly can't see him. And he's there. And nobody knew. Nobody knew on this side where the snipers were. But people on this side knew. And the cops knew. The cops have been told. That's just insane to me.
Line of sight on the former president.
Take a look at what happened.
In Washington, lawmakers demanding answers, calling on the Secret Service director to appear before Congress. We sat down with Director Kim Cheadle today for an exclusive interview.
What was your reaction when you saw the events unfold on Saturday?
Shock, and then concern, obviously, for the former president. This is an event that should have never happened.
Who is most responsible for this happening?
What I would say is that the Secret Service is responsible for the protection of the former president.
So the buck stops with you?
The buck stops with me. I am the director of the Secret Service. It was unacceptable, and it's something that shouldn't happen again.
The president and Homeland Security Secretary said today they had 100% confidence in you, But there are some members of Congress calling on you to resign.
I appreciate the secretary's comments, and we're going to continue to be transparent and communicate with people.
You plan to stay on? Absolutely.
How can you be transparent? You're the Secret Service. By definition, you're not meant to be transparent. Oh, what a world we live in. What a world we live in.
I do plan to stay on.
Director Cheeto says she will not wait on an independent review of the security failure. She says she plans to make immediate changes. We learned today she's already expanded the tactical or SWAT support for former President Trump. David?
Pierre Thomas.
Well, anyway, maybe, oh, that's the wrong one. This one, no, this one. All right. So this is the dude. This is the young man who also has lost his life. Yeah, he was kicked out of gun school for unsafe practices. He just wasn't very good with a gun, which leads me to believe that this dude wasn't put up there like by the CIA. Because surely if the CIA ordered a hit, or somebody, somebody dark and mysterious had ordered a hit, they'd have actually chosen someone who could actually shoot, who wouldn't have taken members of the crowd out, who would have got it right, who would have got him in the head rather than just grazing, sideswiping his ear. So that made me pause, because my first thought was inside job. Without a doubt, inside job. This is another grassy knoll situation. This is an inside job. However, when I thought about it, I thought, why would they employ a young man who clearly is not very good at what he does? And what would be the point in that? What, to instill fear? What would be the point in that? So his name's Thomas Matthew Crooks, and he took his dad's AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. And officially they're saying he fired 8 shots. I heard 7 shots. And then you heard the shot from the sniper who actually got him the first time, because those snipers can actually shoot. So he used DNA and facial recognition technology to identify him from Bethel Park in Pennsylvania, 43 miles from where he gone. Graduated in 2022 from Bethel Park High School with a $500 prize for maths and science. So a clever guy. Graduated with an associate degree in engineering science. State voter records said he was a registered Republican. He donated $15 to Liberal campaign group Act Blue in 2021. Membership of the local shooting club for at least a year. One of the premier shooting facilities in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia. But she's not very good at it. Good at maths, good at science, good at engineering, not that good at shooting. So took his dad's gun, purchased a box of ammo containing 50 rounds on the day. Wearing a t-shirt from Demolition Ranch, a YouTube channel known for its guns and demolition content. So I don't know, wearing his favourite merch, I have no idea. Don't know what the motivation was, but honestly, the motivation of him is secondary to the reasoning as to how was he allowed to do it. Because there's cranks all over the world, right? There's loads of cranks This is just some kind of crank who wanted to make a name for himself and then have himself shot by a sniper. I don't know. He goes down in the history books as being some kind of hero or whatever, or villain. I don't know. There's all these cranks in the world. My point is, how on earth was he allowed to do it? How on earth was he allowed to get away with it? So there's the stuff coming out that he was, you know, very clever guy, but he was bullied at school. He was a little bit of an outcast. That's kind of come out, you know, quiet, intelligent, but weird, a classmate called him. There he is graduating. But the victims, someone asked who the guy was. So one person was killed, two others were injured. All three victims were adult men and audience members. So the deceased victim is Corey Comparatori, 50 years old, volunteer fire chief, dived on his family to protect them. Died a hero. Two people injured were 57-year-old David Dutch and 74-year-old James Copenhaver. Both in a stable condition. They were critical, but they're now stable, so I think they're going to pull through. So Donald Trump's fine. He was at an event yesterday with a bandage on his ear. He's fine. So it's very sad for the man that lost his life. Incredibly sad. But it should never have happened. So snipers here behind, this is where Trump was. Snipers here, he's here. So it's the only other building in the vicinity. So why couldn't they have positioned a sniper on this building as well? I don't understand. I don't understand. Did I see his daughter's statement? What, Corey's? No, I don't think I did. I mean, how, right, he parked his truck like a ways away and just walked up to this roof, climbed up this roof. I mean, how did he get up the roof? Did he have a ladder? With a rifle. It's not like you can hide an assault rifle, really, is it? You know, you got like this gun-shaped thing and he just walks up there. To me, this is just absolute gross incompetence, if nothing more. Now, we don't know how long, you know, this guy had been hiding. Maybe he was hiding and then climbed on the roof. But don't they, like, thoroughly check the immediate vicinity? Don't they do checks and stuff? Did he get on the roof? And yet people saw him. People saw him climbing up there. People saw him, like, you know, crawling along with his gun. Yeah, videos of people pointing him out. Yeah, I've just played one. This one. Here we go.
Now.
Stunning new video tonight showing the moment Donald Trump's would-be assassin
There he is.
Climbed onto the roof of that building just 2 minutes before he opened fire.
Yeah, look, there he is.
You can hear bystanders desperately trying to alert police.
Look, there he is. Someone shouts, "Officer." So the cops are
Authorities now using that.
The cops are in this building. So someone shouts, "Officer, there's someone on the roof." So in 2 minutes, surely, you know, the cops didn't need to approach him. Just contact the snipers and take him out. Isn't it weird that they just did nothing?
Video as part of the investigation. And tonight, ABC News has learned that heavily armed local police were stationed inside that building and missed Thomas Crooks climbing up the outside of the building to the roof. The same building was being used as a staging area for local police, according to 2 law enforcement officials. And Butler Township officials are confirming ABC News' reporting that a local police officer climbed up the roof and confronted Brooks moments before the shooting.
The officer grabbed hold of the edge of the building, pulled himself up to be able to look, and according to what he's told me, shooter turned, rifle was pointed at the officer. The officer, defensive move, kind of ducked, fell, lost his grip on the building.
Investigators tonight trying to determine whether roof access had been properly locked down. The shooter climbing seemingly unimpeded about 400 feet from the stage with a direct line of sight on the former president.
Crazy. Absolute insanity. Insanity. Like, this building was the only other building in the area. So you've got snipers here. This is the only other building, this little complex here, whatever this is. But this building where he was up on was the staging area for the local police. So he's either climbed from the back and climbed over, I have no idea. But there should have been a sniper on this roof. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyhow, I am going to have to go because I've got to go out. So I got to go out. So thank you all. Thank you all for joining me. So we're up to date on 3 cases. Not that I'm going to follow the Trump case really, really closely, but I'm just curious. I'm curious what people thought. Remains to be seen what happens next. And then obviously in Jay's case, we've got to wait now for maybe into next week to get the full ID. This statement was released literally while I was live. And this is a representative of the judge in IDed de los Vinos. In reference to the British citizen Jay Slater, the autopsy with the full identification of the body and the causes of death will take time because the body was very deteriorated. The court is saying the official identification will not be known until next week. However, there was documentation found on the body that was Jay's. So I think we do know that it's Jay. And then the Suitcase murders, the 2 people who were the victims have been named and the pictures released. Where is it? Here it is. And these were 2 guys, 71-year-old Paul Longworth and 62-year-old Albert Alfonso. And then this is the guy. He's in Crown Court tomorrow for his initial hearing. Anyone hear what was found, re Sebastian Rogers? Go on, Mike. What was found? No, I haven't. I haven't been up to date on Sebastian's case for a while now because of it's just all descended into drama that I just have no time for. I have 0 time for. Oh, you're asking? No, was there something found in relation to Sebastian Rogers? I'll go and have a look, but I'll catch up with Sebastian's case. I don't think there's anything new though. It's just descended into anarchy. It's worse than Summerwell's, worse than the Summerwell's case. So I lost patience with it. But Sebastian is still missing. All right, guys. Thank you all. Thank you, mods, as always. Thank you for the donations. Welcome to the new members. And yeah, I shall see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys.